All right, hey everyone, we're back with another episode of Shtajio's vlog. This is episode 37. I'm Henry Thurlow.
I'm Arthell. Isom.
And we've been on a little break here. This is the first episode in a while, probably over a month actually. So sorry about that, guys. This was the first time we kind of missed a little bit there. In the meantime, I got glasses.
I know, man.
I don't have to wear it always. I kind of they're not that strong, but they just they help a little bit with astigmatism. So to the extent I can,
it match your face though. I think. Or no, that's because you got some really expensive glasses, but
they're not crazy expensive. but they're good. I think they're nice. They got some nice ones.
I always noticed that it's interesting because I used to, when I first started painting backgrounds, I used to kind of want glasses because I always thought that. I noticed that all my senpai had glasses, and I wondered if that helped them to paint better because they saw, if you have glasses, that means you can't see clearly, right? And so, it's like a goal of an artist to kind of paint less detail or just kind of do, hints of value, hints of things. But if you have bad eyesight, you automatically kind of do that anyway. At least that's what I thought, And I was like, man, I wonder if you see a lot of painters with glasses on, So I was like, man, I wonder if that helps them. And I used to always want to wear glasses. I was just being silly.
Well, they did say, right, Beethoven was practically deaf, right?
Yeah.
So if you think right? It might be because he has to
because he can't hear.
And
that's what I was thinking. If you have some sort of element that kind of inhibits you from, you have to push further in that direction, right?
That's funny.
Yeah, because I always sit there, pay attention to the tiniest of details, and my senpai would always walk by. No, you don't need to paint that. You're looking too closely. Well, if I had glasses, then I wouldn't have to. But yeah.
So today's topic, I was thinking, is how do you cope when you have tons and tons of work? When you're totally exhausted. And the reason I bring that up is because it's topical for me, probably us. We're working a lot recently.
Yeah. So much.
A big reason that the vlog even hasn't been up is because I've been working from home recently. A lot, but just. I moved and now I have a new area that I could actually work at home. My previous apartment didn't have that. But so I've just been waking up, drawing. I mean, a couple breaks throughout the day, but it's midnight. Okay, today's done. Or just keep going. It's 6 a.m. Okay, I'll take a break. But man, it's just tiring.
So that's
so tiring.
Because when you were at the office, you would always kind of leave here around 7 or 8. I think you had more of a clock. A proper schedule.
Yeah.
Now where you just since you're at home.
But although if I was coming into the studio right now, I wouldn't. It would be one of those bands where I pull the all-nighters and stuff because it's just that much work. Yeah. I'm not doing it because I want to. It's there's just that much on the plate. Right now we can't talk about the projects we're working on, but we're working on one project right now. Which we're staying crazy busy with, while also prepping the next really big project. So there's a ton of pre-production work being done, a ton of current production being done, and the anime industry schedule is so crazy that when you do layout work, you never know when retakes or secondary key animation for those are going to come back. So while we're focusing on the main thing, there's some summer projects that that we worked on during the summer that now the studios are calling up and it's hey, could you put the final finishing touches on those things? And it's just the stack is this. So we'll get through it. We'll do it. We always do. But man, it's tiring.
Yeah, that.
How do you cope?
How do we cope with that? with just a mountain of work. And it's interesting because this industry is just that, right? You just have a mountain of work to do all the time. So I think finding coping mechanisms and methods is really important if you're going to be an artist or if you're in the animation industry or in any industry. So I don't know, what are some of the things that I do, I guess, or what do we do? One thing which some of our fans have kind of commented on, obviously I like to go to the gym, and so recently I've been trying to find a little bit more time for that. I think that really helps. Just kind of I think I've been trying to adjust my schedule so I can go early in the morning as opposed to kind of going later where I used to do before. But that helps me to get rid of stress and things like that. You just go there, lift some weights, exercise, and I think it's just that energy and that you're kind of exerting, which is weird because you were saying you get tighter. But I don't know. I feel like when you exercise, it kind of helps you to.
I don't have a good answer, to be honest. I think you'll have better answers to me. For me, I do. My way is not good. Like I'm almost asking essentially in this episode, like, what do you guys think? We got any suggestions? Well, because the way that I've done it, and I've done it my whole life, and and to my credit, I've been very successful at making sure that I push through and make sure everything's done, and then hit those deadlines. But I basically just power through it. I'm just like a power through kind of person. So. Like I've already resolved, like the next month and a half of your life, Henry, will be utter misery. But do it.
Yeah. Well, I think you definitely have to find things. Like I don't know, like because I think our work, like the amount of work we're doing is probably equal. But I think like you definitely have to just find. I think it's super important to find outlets. Like that's really important. And we're not talking about. So before we did a video about work-life balance, I think this is a little bit different. Because I think in this industry, there is no such thing as a work-life balance. I think we kind of talked about that. Well,
sometimes also, so let's... I'm sure this will actually be different in 3 months or 4 months, right? But you find yourself in moments of a sudden mountain in front of you. So one option is call up a bunch of clients and say, I'm so sorry, I promised you that I'd do the work, but I can't now, right?
Well, but of course, saying no is super important.
Right,
you can.
Right, if it's possible. But keep in mind, you will, let's say the mountain in front of you is largely things you really don't want to do that with. You did make a promise, and et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes you find yourself in a moment, not hopefully this doesn't continue forever, but you find yourself in a moment where for the next 3 weeks or a month and a half or whatever, it's going to be really rough. So how do you handle that moment in time?
And that's why I think outlets are important. so I don't know, if I was to give Henry some advice, and of course all of you please give us some advice, but the advice that I would give is finding those things that you enjoy doing that have nothing to do with your work, even if you're taking an hour out of your day or 30 minutes. And this is different than a break. I'm not talking about like a lunch break. Like a lunch break is a lunch break, right? You should take your lunch break. You should eat your food. But this is different. So, because even when they say like, so if you read a lot of people who are saying when you're trying to be successful or something, they say you have to find that flow state, right? So the flow state is when you get to the point where you forget about time and you forget about even just like your surroundings, right? You finally get to the point where you're just drawing, and you're drawing so perfectly or whatever that you just want to stay into it, and you just, like Henry said, powering through. So normally when you get to powering through, that's like your flow state, right? But your mind can only operate within flow state for a certain part of time, and everyone has a different period of what they say that is. But like some people might say, like, I mean, it could be hours for some, but then some people might say that's kind of unhealthy, right? If you're just like your brain can't focus that long. Like some people say, I think it's in periods of what do they say, like 25-minute spurts or something like that, or 20 is when your brain can focus for about 25 minutes or something. And then your brain will automatically seek rest in itself. And so what happens is your mind would automatically start to wander, and then so you'll be like, you'll be working, and the next you know, you want to read something or you want to look at something, and then you'll get. Have you ever experienced that?
For me, it's funny, as you say, I've never heard this expression, but for me, I'm always listening to something or watching something while I work. Like it's always off here. Like there's a second computer right there with like a video, or I'm listening to music or like an interview or something like that, right? And and usually those are a half hour to an hour long, right? And when those end and I have to go to switch the video, that's when like my brain does that. And it's like, okay, like where was I? Like for the totality of that video, let's say it was 30 minutes, right? For the totality of that, it was just like this, right? This. But then all of a sudden it stops. There's dead silence because the video's done, or the YouTube kicks over to something I don't want to listen to at all. Well, sometimes, funny enough, my flow actually does keep going, because I'll find myself like saying in my brain, I don't want to listen to this, but I'm not stopping, and I'm like 7 minutes into that next video, and I'm like, I really got to click stop on this stupid thing I don't want to listen to. But at some point after that video ends, even if it extends a little bit after that, my brain suddenly stops and goes, okay, back up from this a second. Reassess the situation. Click.
And I think, and that's kind of what that is, right? Like your brain is powering down because it needs to naturally it needs to refresh itself, right? And so your flow, I mean, obviously the goal of us of artists is to get to that flow state and just kind of go. But then you wanna I don't know, refresh your brain, right? You want to kind of power down, and during that moment is when you should take a break, and just do something different. Like don't think about your artwork, don't think about what you're doing. And it doesn't need to be a long break, but it should be a break, right? You get up from the desk, look outside or whatever, like talk to somebody or just do something that has nothing to do with your work, and then that break actually doesn't need to be that long, 5 minutes, whatever, 10 minutes. And then you sit back down and you get back into your mode and you move through. So that's one way to kind of help you with that fatigue that your brain's going to naturally get. Earlier I mentioned, like, I like to go to the gym, so so what I usually do is go to the gym for about an hour, 2 hours or something, and then once you get here, just kind of, like Henry said, power through for a few hours, and then once I get to a point where I'm like, okay, when I kind of naturally find myself wandering, my brain's wandering, where I'm like, oh, what, there must be something good on Netflix right now. That's essentially your brain saying that it's tired, right? And even though you aren't sleepy, your brain is tired of focusing.
But so what do you do? Because like you still have too much work. Like the deadline is 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Mm-hmm. It's 5 p.m. tonight. I was hoping to get it done by 10 p.m. and then I was done. But now that I look at it, I ain't nowhere near done.
Yeah.
So
that happens a lot, especially recently. Yeah. Like, shoot, man, I wanted to get more done, and like, I don't know. I think what I've started to do is just not put unneeded pressure on myself, right? Like, obviously we're only human, and you can only do but so much, and but as long as you are comfortable with the point that you've gotten to, like if you're just slacking throughout the whole day and then you're like, oh shoot, like that's different. Procrastination is different. But if you're working and you're actually moving through and then you haven't finished, like that's just the inevitability of that, right? That just means that there wasn't enough time. And so then I just tell myself, I didn't finish. And so, and I think that's important too. Like we were saying, like being able to say no, and also just being able to be realistic with yourself and just be like, I didn't finish. I should probably get some sleep, at least like 2 or 3 hours. And I'm saying this as if I do this, but obviously we don't, right? Yeah. Like I'll be sitting there nodding off and still trying to get it just because it's a deadline. But, sometimes...
it's easier said than done. All the things we're even saying now, it's like it's good, but we don't
we can't do all of them. But trying to, I think the key is just trying to find healthy habits, and then like a habit is something that you form, right? Like it's not something like just because you said it once you're gonna do it. So a habit is something that you have to. I think I read that you need to, in order to create a habit, you have to do it for 6 weeks straight or something like that, I think was the time. And if you do something for 6 weeks straight, it'll naturally become a habit. My timing could be off. I forget which book I read that said it, but you guys can search.
What about, I have a question. What about food? So we were talking before this video started about like trying to eat kind of healthy, like a chicken breast without the skin and different things that we cook, to try to not have just gross fattening stuff in front of us. Yeah. You're obviously in way better shape than I am, but so maybe like better eating habits and stuff than me. But even I try to avoid the really bad stuff. That being said, let's say, because I have wondered this, right? Let's say I ate healthy throughout the day, right? Like I had just something really good for breakfast. I had the little chicken for lunch, and then dinner, the remainder of that chicken. Like it's all good, right? Like I'm doing good. But man, am I completely exhausted and tired, and like it would really be nice if I had a pick-me-up of something probably not healthy right now, something sugary. So like if I could walk to the bread store, get myself a donut, like not only would that walk refresh me, but then the donut would refresh me. It's like that seems like the best choice, doesn't it? But then I'm conflicted because it's like obviously for a diet purpose that's not the best choice. But I feel like that's a good pick-me-up at the moment. So what do you do?
So I think so diet is important, like Henry said. Dieting. Health is important in general, especially in our industry. You're just sitting at your desk all day doing this, so it's really easy to let your health go. So food becomes important. So I think to answer Henry's question, like if you're not an athlete and you're not like a bodybuilder or anything like that, you don't have to be that strict on yourself. So you can, some pick-me-ups that are actually okay is like caffeine, right? So like green tea has lots of, well, tea in general actually has a lot of caffeine in it. But tea is a pick-me-up, right? And it's a healthy pick-me-up. So I'd say like so I've been trying, like, I don't know if you guys have seen our Twitters and stuff. So sometimes I'm like I'm a Monster. Like, I love Monster.
Oh, Monster energy drink?
Yeah. But that stuff's crazy.
We had a mountain of cans.
Yeah, we had a mountain of cans once. It really was a mountain. It was like this high.
Yeah.
of just how much Monster we drink. But, so...
You're trying to avoid that.
I'm trying, yeah. So now recently I've been trying to just go with the route of like natural, like pick-me-ups, which like, so yeah, like you can drink green tea, but even coffee is actually pretty good. You can drink coffee, and that's better than like the energy drinks, right? Because it doesn't have the other chemicals, and it's just a natural element. But even so, anything in moderation, right? And so, obviously, if we're working out, you want to limit the amount of your sugar intake, and you have to kind of keep track of your macros and things like that. So, but something that I do though is I still eat sweets, and so I'd say just be conscious of how much you're eating. So like, for example, if you want to eat a donut, that's totally fine. Maybe try not to eat it in the middle of the night, but so you want to try it. Or what I do is when I want to cheat with myself, I'm like, oh shoot, man, I need sugar, I need to pick me up. I'll go to the aisle in the convenience store, and then there's all the cheesecakes and all these, like now they got the new cheesecake, the chocolate cheesecake, and I'll actually look at the back and read the calories. So just choose a sweet thing that has less calories. That's what my advice would be. So don't choose the cake that's like 456 calories, because man, you don't realize how hard it is to cut calories. But like if you run on a treadmill and it tells you how many calories you're burning, like I'm running really fast, and like I'll be running for about 15 minutes, and all I burned is like 250 calories. So you have to imagine that like you have to run at like top speed for 20 minutes just to get rid of that one little cake that you just ate.
Yeah.
So really try to choose the donut, the brand donut that's only like 100 calories as opposed to the one that's 400 calories or something. So that's what I would do, and that's what I do, right? And so I was like, so sometimes I'll be at the aisle, I'm just looking, I'm just like, all right, like how many calories does this thing have, and so yeah, because even like I said, like I don't think you need to cut sugar out of your diet. Like I love chocolate mints, and chocolate is really healthy for it to pick me up. It's like a healthy sugar. They always say you should, like if you're ever trapped in the desert or something like that, you should have one thing that you need to have in your kit, your survival kit, is a chocolate bar, because it's a pick me up.
How is that not going to melt in the desert?
Yeah.
If you're in the desert, you better have a chocolate bar. You're going to have a chocolate like mud pie in 5 seconds.
Or like chocolate something, right? So those trail mix with the M&Ms or something like that. I think that's why they started adding those in there. But so just try to choose the stuff that has less sugar, less fats, less thing. But so be okay. So caffeine is okay for your pick me up. Yeah.
Don't be afraid of the sweets, but be afraid of the calories.
Yeah, exactly.
Essentially.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Yes. And be afraid of the time too. So you can your body can generally break things down before like 8 p.m., 9 p.m.
But is that?
Yeah.
Isn't that in relation to when you wake up? That's assuming that you woke up at 8 a.m. in the morning or 7 a.m. in the morning or something, right? Like if I crashed at 6 a.m. and then woke up at 1 p.m., isn't my time off that day? Like it's not necessarily...
That's true. Like so, because it's in relation to the time that you're about to rest, right? And so whenever you're about to rest, that's when your body's going to, most of your system shuts down, right? Because your body's resting.
So not right before resting is the point.
Just not before resting. Yeah,
that's interesting. Well, I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing, but keep in mind these things.
Yeah.
And if you guys got any suggestions, I'll check out the comments.
Yeah, let's see what you all say about this, right? Like how do you all deal with fatigue and just kind of keeping your stress levels down and working overwork.
All right. We'll try to be more consistent with these vlogs from here on out. All right. Shtajio
Shtajio.
See you guys next time. Bye.
Peace.